Okay, picture this. I want you to visualize the everyday cash sitting in your wallet right now. Think about the numbers printed on it, the texture of the paper, maybe those historical figures staring back at you. Now, with that image in your head, what exactly gives this piece of paper value? And I'm not talking about what you can buy with it at the grocery store today, or even what people think it's worth right this second. Ignore all of its purchasing power for a moment. Fundamentally, what actually gives this random piece of paper its power? The crazy truth is that most people go their entire lives without ever asking that question. We learn how to make it, how to spend it, how to invest it, but we never actually learn what it is. Because money is less a physical thing and much more like a story. It's a completely made-up fiction, but it's a story so incredibly powerful, so deeply rooted, that entire civilizations literally build themselves around it. Welcome back to Sophia Phobicus, everyone. Let's dive right into this explainer and pull back the curtain on this fiction.
Section 1. The magic trick nobody notices.
So imagine walking into a bank and asking for a loan. Intuitively, we all kind of assume the bank takes someone else's physical, deposited money out of a vault somewhere and just hands it to us. It makes logical sense, right? But the modern reality is completely different. When your loan is approved, the bank literally creates that money out of thin air. They aren't moving physical cash from Vault A to Vault B. They're just creating a brand new digital entry in your account balance. A number pops up on a screen, and money that literally did not exist seconds ago is suddenly there. If our entire society operates on a financial system where money is essentially spoken into existence through lending, we have to ask ourselves a pretty deep, almost philosophical question. Are we accumulating actual resources, or are we just accumulating claims on future resources? Let the magnitude of that distinction really settle in your mind for a second. Most of the money you interact with isn't physical cash at all. It's just digital promises, entries on a balance sheet. And the whole world keeps spinning simply because we all collectively agree to accept these claims as money. Section 2. A civilization built on debt. Here is exactly how this loop works. Borrowing creates spending. Businesses borrow to expand. Governments borrow to build infrastructure. All that spending fuels economic activity. Then, that activity generates the income needed to support the repayment of the original debt. And when those repayments are successful, well, that just encourages the banks to lend out even more. You see, debt isn't just some byproduct or a bug in our system. It is the very engine driving our businesses, our governments, and our families. It's a perpetual, never-ending credit cycle that absolutely necessitates continuous economic expansion. Which brings us to a massive debate among economists. Can a debt-driven system actually remain stable without constant expansion? Proponents will tell you that this relentless requirement for growth is exactly what triggers human innovation and brings prosperity. But the critics? They argue that it's just a massive, incredibly fragile house of cards. Imagine a scenario where growth just suddenly stalls. In a system entirely dependent on the continuous expansion of credit, a halting growth isn't just a simple pause. It's a fundamental structural threat to the whole shebang.
Section 3. The hidden consequence of new money.
Now, to understand where all this newly created money actually enters the economy, we have to talk about an 18th century concept called the Cantillon Effect. Because when new money is created, it doesn't just magically drop into everyone's bank account at the exact same time. The early recipients, which are almost always massive financial institutions or governments, get their hands on this newly created money first. And the kicker? They get to spend it while the prices of goods and services are still at their old, cheaper levels, well before the market has fully adjusted to the new money supply. So the crucial takeaway here is that timing is power. Money isn't merely about the sheer quantity. The actual path it takes as it flows through society dictates who benefits the most. By the time this new money trickles down to ordinary households, everyday prices have already shot up. The purchasing power of the average person is altered without them doing a single thing. The early recipients win, and those at the end of the line quietly lose out. Section 4. Why markets feel rigged. A lot of people step into the stock market thinking it's this perfectly fair, level playing field. But the stark reality? You are going up against massive institutions with practically infinite resources and algorithms executing trades at superhuman speeds. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean the market is a giant scam, but it is a ruthless mechanism that transfers wealth away from the impatient, emotional, and uninformed directly to the disciplined, systematic, and informed. Markets aren't rigged in some smoky backroom. They just relentlessly reward those who truly understand the game. Sitting down at the table without knowing what game you're playing is the real danger here. Section 5. Power, incentives, and the rules of the game. When you look at these massive wealth inequalities, it's honestly so easy to assume there's some grand secret conspiracy controlling everything. But here's the thing. Complex systems don't actually need villains. People respond to incentives. Institutions respond to incentives. Entire societies respond to incentives. When you align the financial interests of millions of participants, the system develops this completely unstoppable momentum. It becomes extraordinarily difficult to change this structure, simply because millions of people are heavily incentivized to keep it running exactly the way it is. Section 6. How to navigate the system. Okay, so how do we actually use this information? Here are 4 absolutely crucial takeaways for navigating this reality. Number 1. Learn how money works. Most people trade decades of their time for money, but won't spend a single hour studying its origins. Number 2. Own productive assets. Since cash loses purchasing power over time, you need to acquire things that generate real value, like skills, businesses, or solid investments. Number 3. Think long-term. The modern world profits immensely off your short attention span. And number 4. Question your assumptions. Because intellectual blind spots always grow and take root in the assumptions we never bother to question. Now, I want to be clear. The goal of all this isn't cynicism or doom and gloom. The goal is awareness. It's so easy to just get angry at the system. Money might be one of humanity's greatest inventions or our most elaborate shared fiction. Honestly, it's probably both. But regardless, understanding it is no longer optional. Whether you take the time to study the system or not, it is inevitably going to shape your life. So take control of how you interact with this shared fiction of ours. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer and exploring these somewhat unsettling truths together. If these ideas open your mind even a little bit, please drop a like, make sure you subscribe to Sophia Phobicus, and maybe share this with a friend who loves to question the status quo. Until next time, stay curious. And just remember, if you aren't writing the story of the money in your pocket, who is? Goodbye.
Subscribe. Subscribe.